thing that we are running. You can connect with Abhirami one-on-one for a session. If you are really interested in connecting with Abhirami, understanding how she switched these companies, how she went from her switch from Infosys to her first product-based organization, go ahead and say yes. I would be, if I would have been in your place, I would have definitely gone there, asked how the switch happened, what is the salary that Abhirami is drawing, how big of the paycheck is coming her way. So definitely go ahead and say yes to the poll on the bottom right side of the screen. It's a free of cost session. You can connect with her at a fairly convenient time. The poll is running on the bottom right side, everyone.
Thank you, Siddharth, and thank you, Abhirami, for having that conversation and setting the context for everybody here. So, guys, this is a golden opportunity, as Siddharth has already said. So, my screen is already shared, and if you want to connect with Abhirami, who is currently working at Panda Health, and Vikas, who's working at Walmart as SD3. So, both of these are here to help you. They're here to guide you. They're here to mentor you. So, if you want to get in touch with them, click on yes. The poll will end in 5 more seconds, and after that, I also have a WhatsApp link which has both Abhirami and Vikas added on the group. So if you want to get in touch with them on WhatsApp, I will share the link with you as well. So just please respond in the poll so that all of us are aligned with that, and I'll just share the link. Alright, thank you so much for responding, and this is the WhatsApp link. Please do connect it here. And Abhirami, is it fine if I share your LinkedIn ID?
Sure, works. Yeah, you can do it. Yeah.
Alright, thank you so much. I'll just put it here, and again, thank you so much for having this conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I think have a great session ahead. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, I can see that a lot of you are asking that you would like to connect with someone from Scalar, you would like to understand how Scalar works, how things at Scalar works, and you would want a one-on-one session with us to understand things better about your career. We'll launch a poll on the bottom right side of the screen. You go ahead and say yes to that poll. We will connect with you. It's not a sales call, I promise you. It's a call where we'll be understanding about your career, how you want your career to be progressed. This is not the same as the launched poll before. This is a session where you can connect with industry experts like us who would understand your journey, map the journey for you, and then make a one-on-one roadmap for you. It's a free of cost session again. Go ahead and say yes to the poll on the bottom right side of the screen. You can see the poll there. And after that, we are going to start with the session. I can sense that a lot of you are getting anxious. So don't worry. It's starting in next 5 seconds. Go ahead and say yes to the poll and we'll start. Not the thumbs up, but the poll. I'm not sure, Pranav, about that. Would have to check. Alright. So here we are. Then let's start with the roadmap to becoming a full stack developer. What are the things that we are going to learn? I'm going to just write it over here. Right? We start with this. We will learn about a roadmap to a front-end developer. We'll learn about a beginner roadmap to a back-end developer. We are going to learn the easiest way to becoming a full stack developer, advanced front-end dev technologies and back-end dev technologies. What are the interview process for these roles? And finally, with all the hard work, what is the salary that you are going to draw? Right? So these are the things that we are going to learn. So my first question to all of you is that who is a full stack developer and what does a full stack developer do? Who is a full stack developer and what does a full stack developer do? In order to answer that question, my next question is that what happens when you hit www.google.com? What happens when you hit www.google.com? What happens? What is the thing that happens when you hit www.google.com? Google opens. Very good point. Google opens. Right? Yeah. Opens front page, opens the Google web page, DNS lookup. I can see a wide range of answers coming in. Very heartening to see that all of you are interacting. DNS request plus response, very good. Send request to the response, very good. Great. So now, what happens? Let's detail out that and understand in detail what exactly is the process, right? So when you enter a URL, do we go to the server? Do we go to that server somehow and get the results? Do we go to the server and somehow get the results? That is what would happen. Now, what is server? How do we go? All of these questions need to be answered, right? So in order to go to a URL, in order to open a URL on your web page, the first thing that you need is something known as the IP address. You need the IP address of the computer/server providing this website. You need the IP address of this computer or the server which is providing this. Now, what is an IP address? How does this IP address come into the picture? Why is this IP address? Basically, IP address is basically a address for your machine. It tells you that this is the place, this is the location that you need to get. Now, imagine that you want to send a letter to Arpan. How would you send a letter to Arpan? You would say that Arpan lives in Mayur Vihar, Delhi, and you want to send a letter to Arpan. So you will say send a letter to Arpan, in Mayur Vihar, Delhi. Would the letter reach to Arpan? Would the letter reach Arpan? Yes or no? No, it will not reach Arpan. The postman would be confused that, hey, how do you give the letter to Arpan? It's impossible. I don't know. What is the exact place? What is the exact address of Arpan? In order to deliver that letter specifically to Arpan, you need the pin code, you need the address, you need the house number, and then you will be able to deliver. Similarly, in order to get a data from a server, in order to get the data from a machine, let's call it machine for now, you need the IP address of that machine. So we have said that IP address is required, right? Where is this IP address now stored? Where is this IP address stored? The IP address is stored in something known as a DNS server. Where is the DNS server configuration now? You would be like, this guy is talking in puzzles. He is saying that you need the IP address, and now again you need an IP address for the DNS server. Where is the DNS server? Where is the DNS server? How do I know the IP address of the DNS server? The IP address of the DNS server, if you would have looked at it very carefully, is stored in your router configurations. You see that there this internet guy comes home, sets up that internet router, he opens a web page and does some configuration setting and your internet starts working. That is where your IP address of your DNS is set up. So DNS, what is DNS now? Next question is, what is DNS? DNS is nothing but it is a, we can call it a dictionary of all the websites and their IP addresses. Alright, it's a dictionary of all the IP addresses and the website names. Alright, so it is a map between the URLs and IP addresses. Now you get the IP address. Hey, great, you got the IP address. Now you should definitely get the website. What do I do now? You have the IP address. What do I do now? You go and connect to something that is behind that IP address. Now, what is behind that IP address? What is exactly behind that IP address? What is the thing that is behind an IP address? Behind that IP address is something known as a server, right? Behind that IP address is something known as a server. Now, what is a server? What is a server? Behind the IP address, what is there? You will say server. Now, what is this server? What is a server? What is there behind this IP address? It is server. So server, can we say it is a laptop? Can we say server is a laptop? It's a laptop. Can we say that it's a laptop? Yes, no. It's kind of like a machine. So it is a laptop which is a very, very powerful laptop or a very, very powerful machine, right? Now, who gives you these servers? There are lots of companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft. These give you these servers, right? These servers are provided to you by these. Like if you're on your local system, you want to run a code. If you on your local system you want to run a code, you will run a server on your local system. That server will take a request and respond to the request. So, what is the job of the server? Job of the server is to take a request and respond to a request, right? These are the two things the server does. Its job is to take a request and respond to the request. Now, where is the request coming from? Where is the request coming from? Where exactly is a request coming from? It's coming from your, wherever you have hit www.google.com, wherever you have written www. So, client requests a web page from the server. Now, what does a server return? What does a server return? What does a server return? It returns an output. It returns a response. The response can be of two types. It can be an HTML or it can be a JSON. Let's for now forget JSON. Let's say it is an HTML. And now who gets this HTML? The client gets this HTML. What does the client do with HTML? It renders the HTML on the browser. Right? Now, this is one thing that we have learned till now. Right? It renders the HTML on the browser. Now, imagine that Shefali log into her system. Right? Imagine that Shefali log into the system. Now, if Shefali is logging into the system, how would the client and the server know that it is Shefali who is logging into the system? Where is the information for Shefali kept? Where is the information for Shefali kept? The information for Shefali is kept in a database. It is kept in a database. Right? Database keeps the user information. Right? Let's say it keeps the information. Right? Now, where is this server hosted? Where is this server hosted? Where is this server? Where is this server? Which companies provide this? So, cloud is a very commonly term that is used. Cloud is where these servers are. Right? Who provides these clouds? Who provides these servers? Who provides these servers? AWS, Azure, and GCP. Right? These are the things that provide you with the servers. Right? Now, if you see, we have seen the life cycle of a web page, how that web page is delivered to an end user. Net, can I get yeses or no's? This is the life cycle of how a web page is coming to you. The web page that you are seeing is definitely coming to you in this process. Now the interesting part is, we'll do an overview and a detailed deep dive of all of this. As we go ahead, we'll do a detailed deep dive of each and every aspect of these things as we go ahead. Don't worry, right? This is just the trailer that I have given you. Now, can we say that the full stack development would lie in from step 1 to 15? Everything in full stack development would lie between 1 to 15. So I have net covered what a full stack developer is, what a full stack developer does. Can we say that we have understood how to become a full stack developer? End the session now. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. No, right? I have not told you how to become one. I have told you what is this full stack. I have not yet told you how to become one, right? Don't worry. People would be like, what if he really ends the class? I would not do that. Don't worry. Right? So now let us look at the different parts of things, different parts of full stack development, right? Let's look at the different parts of full stack development. Over here, this response HTML where this is getting rendered is known as the front end. Can we say this is the front end? HTML comes in the front end, right? Can we say that? Yes, no, yes. This is known as front end. Now, what is there on this server? What is this server? Can we say this is a backend? Can we say this is the backend? Yes, this is the backend. Right? Now, database keeps the information. What is this? This is database. So we can say database. Now this cloud and AWS and Azure, someone has to put the database on this server, someone has to run this server, someone has to put this information on this server. Can we say that this is the infra part? This is the infra part. Can we say that? Yes. Infrastructure part. So if we net summarize everything, a backend developer, what do they do? A backend developer writes the code on the server for getting a request and responding to a request and to connect with the database. This is the job of a backend developer. Can we say that this is net the job of a backend developer, right? Connect, how they connect, what they connect, all of that comes later. But this, in summary, is what they do. Now, what does a front-end developer do? Front-end developer receives a request from the backend, receives a request from the backend, prints let's say renders the HTML on the front end and uses JS and CSS for additional features. Correct? This is what a front-end developer does. Alright. Now what does a database engineer do? Maintains the data and provides interfaces to interact with this data. Net, that's what they would be doing. Now what is a infra/DevOps engineer doing? Maintaining things on cloud, providing cloud infrastructure.
हाँ ठीक है
All right. This is what an infra developer would be doing. I can sense that a lot of you are confused with what this infra developer is doing. Right? So imagine a simple scenario. We keep saying, right, the infrastructure of Bangalore is improving, but it is not there. Or we say the infrastructure of smaller cities in our country is on the developing pace, is increasing day by day. It's becoming better day by day. A lot of people say India's infrastructure in totality is becoming better day by day. What does that mean? It means that the buildings, the places, the things, the markets, the roads, the everything is improving better, becoming better. So the roads, the buildings, everything is an infrastructure, right? In the physical world, in the cloud world, the servers, the databases, the places where your server is running, where your DNS is running, where your everything else is running is known as your infrastructure of web development, of full stack development. Can you relate these two things now? Can I say that there is a similarity in the real world between these two things now? Yeah, very good point. Pratik says zoom in little bit, 100%. Let us zoom in little bit. Surely. Alright. Now, we have understood what are the different domains of development. What are the different domains of development? Now my question to all of you is that if these are the domains of development, do we have jobs separately for each and every domain that I have written over here? Yes. There is jobs. I have seen people having jobs for each and every domain that you see over here. For full, like the backend, database, front end, infra, everything. There are jobs. Now, who is a full stack developer? Who is a full stack developer?
Hello.
Who knows all the above? Straightforward, right? Who knows all of the above? Now, after looking at all of this, your mind would be, I am definitely not becoming a full stack developer, right? That is what your mind would be saying, right? I am definitely not becoming a full stack developer. Don't worry, I will make it easy for you. By the end of the session, you will be like, I am becoming a full stack developer. I'll break it down for you. Don't worry. Don't worry. Now, first of all, let us remove this part from our full stack knowledge. Alright, we will talk about majorly these three things. The fourth part is a good to have. So I have made it little lesser for you. I have made it little lesser for you. You don't need to worry. This part is something that you don't need to worry about. Here we will remove this, right? So now we will talk about three categories of full stack developers. Three categories of full stack developers. This is something that I firmly believe in. These are the three categories of full stack developers. Now, who are the three categories? What are the three categories? One is 50 front end, back end. And in back end, I am saying the database engineer job also comes in that. Then 30 front end, 70 back end, 70 back end, 30 front end. These are the three categories net of full stack developer. Who is a strong front end engineer? Oh, I wrote it wrong. Over here it would be front end and back end. Who is a strong front end engineer but knows how to manage back end? There is a strong back end engineer knows how to manage front end, and then there are people who know both, right? They are the Ben Stokes or they are the Ravindra Jadejas of the web development world. But I would say that you should aim for these two, not for the first. You should aim for the second and third. The problem the mistake that people usually do is that they always want to be 50-50 engineer. That is highly difficult. Don't go and directly try being a 50-50 engineer. Start with one. Start with one. First you start with either front end or back end. But start with one. Don't start with both. Alright. So first become a good front-end developer. First become a perfect front-end developer, then become a back-end developer. Or you become a perfect back-end developer, then become a front-end developer, but don't become both. You will end up becoming nothing. Right? If you reach there, 100% great, very good, you are a smart developer. But if I'll tell you, don't pick up both. No issues at all if you are expert at something or not, right? So if you are up, now what we'll do is that we'll start with a roadmap to becoming a front-end developer. We'll start with a roadmap to becoming a front-end developer. We'll go in detail, discuss about how to become a full front-end developer. This is important for both the categories, actually all three of the categories. So if you are already a back-end developer and you want to become a full stack with 30% FE, this part is very important for you. If you are starting and you want to become 70-30, this is important for you. If you are over here as well, it is going to be definitely making sense. There is no need to repeat. We will repeat these concepts as we go to the roadmap, Sagar. Alright. Now, let us then start with our first roadmap for the day. I will keep on telling you about things in this roadmap. I will keep on discussing about things that are happening. This is a link that I would be referring. This is something that I have not made. This is available online. I am putting it over here as a link in this document. This document is going to be shared with you, right? This document is going to be shared with you. What is FE and BE? It is front-end engineer, back-end engineer. Alright. Now, if we come to this, the point is not that what you are seeing in front of it. It's just a reference. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk in detail about each and everything that you see over here. I tell you what is important in this, how to learn this, where to learn this, what you need to do in order to learn these parts, right? Okay. First and foremost, you need to learn HTML in order to become a front-end or a full-stack developer. So if any of your friends, and one more request, it's going to be added in the document. I am going to share the document with you. Yes, I will provide you with a copy of this document, don't worry. One request that I have from everyone, I understand in this session you would have lots of questions that I have this experience, how do I become this, I have this experience, how do I become this. All of these questions in the end, I will take these questions, I will tell you in detail how to become a full stack developer according to your need. But right now, let's just concentrate on one thing. What is the content that I am sharing? Right? And questions like this, that what is Next.js, how Next.js, just hold on to those questions. We'll come to that. Only concentrate on what I am going to talk, because there are so many people in the session. If everyone keeps on asking questions, it's going to be impossible to talk about it. We will talk about what I am saying, then come to what you want to say, but that would happen in the end. Requesting everyone to maintain that. Right? Now, what is HTML? First of all, what is HTML? HTML is the most important part of your full stack development or your front end development. It is your backbone of your web development. Alright. If any of your friend or your family member tells you that HTML is not important, it is not important to become a front end developer, stop talking to them right away. Stop, break your friendship with them. They are lying to you. They don't want your betterment. HTML 100% is important. It is the skeleton of your web development. If you don't know HTML, you cannot be a web developer. I'll write it and give it to you. Right? Now, what is HTML? What is HTML? HTML is a hypertext markup language. HTML is a hypertext markup language. What it does is provide you with tags. The tags can be used to render things onto the screen. tags would be provided, and those tags would be used to render things onto the screen. Now, where do I learn this HTML? How do I learn this HTML? These are some of the resources that you could use in order to learn these things about HTML. HTML is the skeleton of the development, so you need to learn HTML for sure, right? Next, what is CSS? Why is CSS important? Is CSS not important? What is CSS? CSS is your cascading style sheets. What does it do? CSS adds the beauty to your website. CSS adds the beauty to your website. Now, why is the beautification of your website required? Why is it important? What is the important part of that? Why would I want CSS to be there? Is a very important question. Now, I will ask you this question. If you go to a website where there is very bad styling, the page looks very bad, what would you do? What would you do? If you see a very bad looking website, what would you do? Yes, I will share the copy of the document. Don't worry, 200% I will share. You will leave the website and go away from that. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Because you would be scared that, hey, this is a spam website. Whatever money I have in my account, whatever money, 200 rupees I have in my account would be taken away. These people are going to take 200 rupees away. Everything would be taken away. It's a spam website. I'll not go to this website. Right? So perspective, how you look is very important. Right? Perspective, how you look is very important. So your CSS is important. The UX, user experience, has to be good. If there is bad user experience, you will not go to the website. One more example I'll share. One of my friend, I was going out with them. They did not enter a restaurant because the font in which the name was written was not good. They were like, no. The food would be bad. So they judge you based on that. So CSS is important. Now CSS is the styling part. And how to learn CSS, I will write it down over here. I will write it down over here for you. This is the resources that you can use to learn CSS. Alright. Now CSS, how is it loaded onto your website? How is the CSS loaded onto your website? CSS is loaded through your HTML. Your HTML would have a tag in order to load your CSS. That CSS then would be added into your code, and then your CSS will start then to apply onto the HTML elements that you have. All of this comes through your HTML and CSS knowledge. Now writing styles for a element is done through CSS. Alright, CSS may you would write that this is the color, this is the background color, this is where the position of an element should be, this is where your chat box should be, this is where your input box should be, this is how your input box should look, this is how your button should look. All of these things are covered by CSS, right? Now, in order to, I'll show you a diagram, right? I'll show you a diagram in order to explain this to you as well. So if you look at it, see, HTML is the skeleton, CSS is how you look, and JavaScript is the nerves and the veins and the logic part of it, right? How many tags in between HTML? What does that mean? How many in HTML? That I don't think even the founder of HTML would remember. They don't need to think of that. Okay. Now, after CSS, what comes? After CSS comes JavaScript. Now, JavaScript is the base of full stack development. JavaScript is the base of website development or a full stack developer. If you learn JavaScript, you can become a full stack developer. If you learn JavaScript in detail, JavaScript is your key. You would become a full stack developer because lot of things in the backend are also based on JavaScript. Lot of things on the JavaScript are also based on the JavaScript. It adds the functionality, it adds the logic into your code. JavaScript adds functionality and logic into your code. Now, how does JavaScript add functionality? What are the concepts? So probably promises, asynchronous, JS, events, event loops, closures, ES6, prototypes, proto, to name some of the concepts that you should learn in JavaScript. To name some of the concepts that you should learn in JavaScript, there are hundreds of them. I'm just naming some. But JavaScript, you have to learn all of these, right? Now, what does that JavaScript do? What does that JavaScript do into your website? What does that JavaScript do, everyone? That JavaScript, what it does is that it will provide functionality, dynamic behavior to your website, right? It will do DOM manipulation of your website. It will do a lot of things on your website. So say suppose you are entering a website and when you came to the Skiller website, right? How did you come? You pressed on a link or you pressed on a button, logged in and then came in. Who is doing all of this for you? Who is doing all of these things for you? It's a JavaScript that is doing all of these things for you. JavaScript says that I will do all of this interactivity into a website. That's what JavaScript does, right? Does that make sense? What JavaScript does? I'll write this. Manipulation, right? Great. Now, after JavaScript comes a very important point which you need to learn, which is known as Git, which is known as version control, Git, GitHub. That's important. Git, GitHub is important. You need to learn Git, GitHub, right? And this Git, GitHub is not a front-end roadmap thing. It is a Git, GitHub is a generic. Version control is a generic for back-end, front-end, everyone. It is important. Git, GitHub is something that you need to know. Now, how to learn Git, GitHub? It's all through practice that you would learn, right? So, what does this Git, GitHub do? What does this Git, GitHub do? Right? I'll just take 2 minutes to explain that. What does this Git, GitHub do? Git, GitHub provides you with a way to manage multiple developers doing code at different places to combine that code together. Or if you are a developer, it helps you write your code in a way that you could probably roll back to a place where you started from. If you wrote some bad code, you can roll back to a place, you can make multiple copies of your code. That is what is known as your Git, GitHub, right? So imagine that 10 developers are working on a project, all of them are working on the same file. How would they be able to manage the same file? For that purpose, they would use GitHub. All of them would keep on adding their code to something known as GitHub. And then there would be a way that you could probably merge each and every one's code onto that file, keep it together and keep it somewhere and make multiple copies of it. So all 10 people's code is there in one copy and one common code is there in one copy. So you can make multiple copies of the same code, helping everyone believe that they are writing their code in their own environment, but only one copy of it is going to be finally made, right? Does that make sense? What GitHub is giving you, what it is providing you. Only 11, 12 yeses is a very less number. Does that mean rest of the people are sleeping, not understanding what happened? Great. Right? Great. So now GitHub is important for sure that you need to learn GitHub in order to learn this, how these things would happen, how these code management would do, what would be done. Now, after GitHub comes something known as NPM. I'm going to spend some significant amount of time on how we can learn NPM. What is NPM first of all? What is NPM? I'm going to spend some time on this. Right? This NPM is known as Node Package Manager. Node Package Manager. Now my question to all of you is, what is a package? What is a package? Package is a collection of files. Do we call it a collection of files? Collection of what files? I'll come to that. What is Node? I'll come to that. What is the collection collection of files. It's a collection of JavaScript files, or can we say it is a collection of JavaScript code? Can we say that it is a collection of JavaScript code, JavaScript file? Can we say that? Yes, it is a collection of JavaScript codes. Right? Let us take an example of a library. Right? Let us take an example of a library. Imagine you need 100 books. You need to read 100 books in the next 10 days. What would you do? You are very rich, you will go buy them. If you are not, if you are practical, you will go to a library. In a library, what do you do? In a library, what do you do? In a library, you go and you say that I need these books. So first you go, select those books. You go, select those books, then go to the librarian. You tell the librarian that, hey, I am looking to borrow these books. They will give you a book card. They will say, write those books that you need into that book card. That book card is where you will write, this is the word book I need. These are the days I need it for. Give it to the librarian, and the librarian then gives those books to you. Correct? That's what you usually do in a library. Yes. Now, the same process, the same exact process if we follow in NPM, which is Node Package Manager. Right? What does it do? So, Node is your library of all the packages. If you imagine it, it's the library of all the books. NPM is the librarian managing all these packages. Alright, librarian is the one who is managing all these packages, and your packages are nothing but your books that you are borrowing from the library and getting to use them. Now, who creates these live packages? Who creates these packages? Who does that? Who creates these packages? JS developers, anyone in the world can create those packages and put it on Node. Node says that I am a place where you can come and put all the packages that you want. I'll keep those packages with myself. Anyone, even you, me, anyone can create a package, put it on Node. Node, you can download those packages. Those packages can be private, those packages can be public. If you want people to use your package, you make it public. If you want people to not use your package, you make it public. So I want a code specific to my company. I would make it as a private repo. If I want it that this package can be used by everyone, you make it as a public repo. Right? That is what a package is. Who creates this package? Developers create these packages. And what is the advantage of these packages now? What is the advantages? JS is used. Yes, JavaScript is used to create these packages. What is the advantage of these packages? The advantage is that anything that you want to use is rightly and very easily available to you online. You just need to go and search that I need a package for this. I need a package for this. You can use anytime. It adds reusability into your code. Anyone can use this, right? It's because Node is maintaining this. There are packages for other libraries as well. So there is Ruby on Rails, so they have something known as gem files in order to manage these packages. Node or JavaScript says that we have NPM for that purpose. All the different things have those packages, right? So now these packages are very advantageous to you. It helps you time, saves you time in order to write the code. Multiple codes you don't need to write. It will make your life easier, right? Now, what is said is that you need to download these packages. Where do you write? So now one more question, what is the book card? Like I said, right, there is something known as book card. What is this book card? It is known as your package.json in your code. This is equivalent to your book card, where you come and say that this is the package that I need, this is the version of the package that I need, this is the package ID that I need. Alright. Till this point, can I get yeses or nos if it makes sense? Does it? Yes. Great. Let us then further deep dive into one of the things that you would need to learn, which is known as your front-end libraries, or you can say JS libraries or frameworks. Now, what are the front-end libraries, JS libraries and frameworks? What are these things? Something like a React, an Angular, Vue.js, Ember, right? These are your front-end libraries or packages. Now, if these are your front-end frameworks or packages, how do you use them? And what is this package? What is this React? Can we say React is a package? Can we say that React is a package, is a node package? It would be available to you in NPM. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. It is yes, everyone. That is why we understood about packages. React, Angular, Vue.js, all of these are JavaScript packages. They are available onto your node. From node you download them. You say npm install React and it installs React code for you. So yes, they are packages. Alright. Now, which is the package that you need to learn? I would suggest you could go ahead with React in the beginning. You could learn React to start with. Now, you would say Vue is also nice, Angular is also nice. I already know Vue, I already know React, I already know Angular. If you already know Vue or you know Angular, yes, Maheshwaran, that is exactly how it's exactly like pom.xml. Right? If you know Angular or Vue.js, I'm not saying that they are not good. They are good. Just that React is the market mover. React was the one that mostly companies use. So there are more jobs and opportunities in the industry for React. React is more is supported by more developers. So that's why React is the one that I would suggest you to learn. Right. So now I'll talk about brief history of React and what React does. What React does for you, alright? I'll take 2 minutes about the brief history of React and what React does. Right? So when JavaScript came into the picture, I'll talk about React Native as well, Neha, don't worry. I'll talk about each and everything. When JavaScript came into the picture, JavaScript was not considered to be very, very good. It was considered that it's not of a lot of use. Then slowly it started gaining publicity. Slowly people started understanding that JavaScript is the next big thing. And this was probably some years back. People started understanding that JavaScript is the next big thing. Then people started using JavaScript extensively. When I started my career, there was no React back then, right? There was only JavaScript. And then Angular had just started coming into the picture. So what JavaScript said was that JavaScript is definitely good, it is great, it provides you a lot of functionalities, but it's not developer friendly. It does not let you do things in a very simple way. Developer has to write hundreds of lines of code to achieve something. One problem that people were facing with JavaScript was it was not developer friendly, very powerful but not developer friendly. Second, it was very difficult to use reusable code. The reusability in JavaScript was very hard. Reusability in JavaScript was very hard, and the performance of your websites was also a little bit not on the best place. So React came into the picture. It said that I will solve all of these things. I will provide you with a way to create components. People said that I would provide you with a way to do reusability. I would improve the performance. I would provide you with a way to write the same piece of code that you would write in JavaScript in 1000 lines in probably 50 or 70 lines in React. That's what React said, right? So React became very instantaneously popular. Then it came with a tag of being created by Facebook, developed by Facebook, maintained by Facebook. People automatically started trusting it, right? And most of the companies started moving from their Angular or JavaScript or jQuery to React and moved to React. Now, if all the companies moved to React, everything that they started building was in React. It's not easy moving away from React to something new which is better. It is probably next to impossible when you have lakhs and lakhs of lines of code written. You would not want to spend more onto moving onto a new platform. You would be fine with whatever you have. So React became the market mover. React became the market mover. People understood that React is of the great importance, and slowly React gained that publicity and popularity. Now there are hundreds and hundreds of developers who support React, who provide you packages. You go and search any package that you want to build, anything that you want to build, it would be available online and you would be able to utilize it. Right? Now a lot of people are saying that, can I learn React Native? React Native is nothing but a subset of React. React can be used to build three types of applications. React can be used to build web applications. React can be used to build mobile applications. React can be used to create CLI tools, the CLI applications as well. So React written in your front end, in your web, would be communicating with React. React would be communicating with web through React DOM. React will be communicating with your app using your React Native, and I forgot what React CLI, for CLI you would be used to forget that part. So React Native is written in JavaScript. React Native code is based in JavaScript, and just up on top of that you have something known as React Native, which helps you communicate with your mobile application. As simple as that. It is a gateway. The base is still going to be React. So learn React. You would learn React Native. I did not even know React Native and I built a mobile application in React Native. It is as simple. React Native is for app, React, and React DOM is for your websites. Alright. Now Flutter, what is Flutter? Flutter is a newer technology that is used to build mobile applications. It's also great, upcoming, you could learn that, but it is only for mobile development. If you want to get into mobile development, go ahead and learn Flutter, but it's not yet used in every company, right?
Hello?
The React Native is still used in multiple companies, and Flutter is not used in hundreds and hundreds of companies. It's still catching up, it's still getting there. Some people want to build their apps in native, someone wants to build in React Native, some want to build in Flutter. Based on their use case to use case, you would learn that. Alright, now React is something that we have clarified upon. React is what you would want to learn. React is important, we have learned that. Let me quickly put the docs for React as well. Right? Now, next, what do you want to learn? Next, after React, what do you want to learn? What is the thing that is important for you to learn? Angular is not dead. It's still there, it's going to be there. Just that React took the market away from Angular. Now what do we want to learn? We want to learn what are CSS frameworks. What are CSS frameworks? What are the different CSS frameworks? This is an important part for all of you backend developers out there. You could learn Material UI, you could learn Bootstrap, you could learn Tailwind, there is Bulma, there are multiple other things that you could learn. If you have difficulty understanding and learning CSS, don't worry. Learn a CSS framework. If you are a backend developer looking to become a 30% front-end developer, it's okay if you can't write CSS. Learn these frameworks. You would become better. You would be able to manage better. For a pure front-end developer, I would say you need to learn the basics of CSS, then learn any of these. Don't need to worry about that. What is this CSS frameworks first? Worry about what is the CSS. Then you learn the CSS framework. Slowly you become better at it. Makes your life easier. Same way as React, it provides you with the ease of doing something. So imagine that you want to build a button. You want to build a button. If I provide you with all the CSS written for it, and I provide you with a way to just pass one simple configuration, and it gives you a button, and I give you one more configuration to say that you can even change the color of the button and things like those, would that make your life easier? It would definitely, right? It would definitely, right? So that is what your CSS frameworks provide you. CSS frameworks say, I will provide you with the configuration for writing your CSS in a way that you do something, write something, and it will provide you with a way to make things better, make things faster. We'll come to that. We'll come to that pattern once we come to the backend development part. Now, last but not the least, I will give you a small break as well after this. I'll give you a quick 5 minutes, 7 minutes break after this part. Is learn front end testing as well. So front end testing like Jest, Chai, Mocha is what is important for you to learn. Right? Now, what is this front end testing? What is this front end testing? What does it do? Right? Let's just talk about what is testing. What is unit testing as such? What is unit testing as such? What do you do in unit testing? How do you do unit testing as such? Imagine that you are told to buy a pack of 6 eggs. What are the different tests that you would run before buying this pack of 6 eggs? I want each and every one to tell me in chat. What is the battery of tests that you would run in order to buy a pack of 6 eggs? This is not related to code. This is related to your real life. What are the different tests that you would write in order to check for a pack of 6 eggs? You would see whether the eggs are broken or not, whether the eggs are fresh or not, whether the quantity is 6 or not, whether the eggs are in the expiry date or not. Right? Imagine. That is why I said don't go and buy. I said imagine if you are vegetarian. I am also a vegetarian, but I can imagine buying eggs. That's not a problem. Imagination mein to you could do anything. So you go and buy, you want to buy 6 eggs. You will see the quantity, you will see the price. But we missed one thing. Yes, very good point. You would first check whether it is an egg or not. First thing you would check it is an egg or not. You don't want to go home and take a packet of egg which is written egg and then you go home and say it says 100% vegetarian eggs. You go to restaurants nowadays and you see, right? I went to one restaurant, they were written 100% veg chicken. Like wow, 100% veg chicken is what I had come here to eat. Right? So eggs, these are the checks that you would do. So now you have understood what is testing. So similarly, when you want to test your code, what you would want to test. If imagine you have this if you have this website in front of you, I can tell you that you have to check whether the messages in the chat are going or not. You want to check the functionality of chat. What would you do? What are the different tests that you would run? What are the battery of tests that you are going to run? You would say check whether a message is getting sent or not. Check if you are able to send a message or not, whether you are able to hit enter and send the message or not, whether you are able to send an infinitely long message or not, whether you are stripping down the length of the message or not, whether you are sending it to the right person or not, whether you are able to send it to privately or to send it to all or not. You would test for all of these things. Then you would check whether you are able to send special characters or not. Hundreds of checks would be there, right? Paras, I have told you, we will learn about these things in the end. Whether Salesforce dev is good, web dev is good, what should you do? We'll learn that. But right now, only concentrate on the session. So these are the battery of tests that you would need to run. So if you want to land a job in a bigger company, or you want to land a job, if you want to land a job in Europe or other countries like that, you need to learn all of these front-end testing frameworks, front-end testing, right? Now, a very important question. What is the interview process for these front-end roles? Right? What is the interview process for these front-end roles? So we'll split it into three parts. If you are a beginner, you are an intermediate, or you are an advanced front-end developer. If you are a beginner, there would be 5 rounds. One would be your DSA or basic JavaScript round. Second would be your basics front-end basics round. Front-end basics round would be around your HTML, CSS, JavaScript, these things. Next, if you are a beginner or an intermediate, you would have a framework round. Framework round. What is there in this framework round? They would ask you how React works, how the framework that you know works. Then you would have a implementation, which is known as machine coding round. You would have a machine coding round. What is a machine coding round now? What is a machine coding round now? Machine coding round is nothing. It is simple, where they would give you 3 hours to build something. I was given an assignment of building that Nokia Snake game you would have seen, right? Nokia Snake game you would have seen, right? You are coding on your machine. That's why Kaustav, right? I had to build that. In one company, I had to build from a design to a website. I had to build a Tetris. In one company, I had to build Google Docs completely. So you have to build something in those 3 hours. They don't expect you to build everything. They expect you to write the code in a way that it is structured, well-mannered. Tic-tac-toe, yes. So well structured, well-mannered, and the code is going to make sense to the end user. It is written in a good way, and some functionalities are working. That is what happens in your machine coding round. This is something similar which is going to be there in a beginner and intermediate interview. Last round, after that you have a cultural fitment round. Alright, these are the rounds that you have. In an advanced front-end learner, for an advanced front-end learner, you would have something of this sort. Where your rounds, DSA basics, JS round would be there, front-end basic round would be there. In that only you would have your framework as well. So you would have your DSA/basics round. Actually, for advanced learners, I have not seen a lot of companies asking DSA as such. Then your front-end basics and framework round. Then you have your design round, which is known as system design, right? You would be asked how the APIs of a website look like, how the APIs of, say, suppose Slack look like, or the APIs of, say, suppose any other company look like, right? These are the questions that would be asked to you. Yes, we'll be taking a quick break very shortly, don't worry, right? Next, you would have a machine coding or one more system design round. Then you would have a cultural fitment. Cultural fitment, a lot of you are asking what is it. People would come and ask you, hey, if you were in this scenario, would you work hard? What if your manager told you that you have to work hard? How would you react? Do you take feedbacks well? All of these questions would be asked in your cultural fitment round. They will make sure that you understand what you are doing, right? And you are not going to come and spoil the culture of the company. You will get it, Smith. Can you explain framework and cultural fitment round? Framework is where they would ask you questions on React or the framework that you know. That's all. I just talked about it, Gopinath. Cultural fitment round is where they would check your fitment into a company. They would ask you questions like, what is your passion? What are your biggest weaknesses, biggest strengths? What is the challenge that you face? All of those things. All right. So not like an HR round, it's much more advanced than that. But yes, cultural fitment round is important. It's 8:45, everyone. We will gather back in 10 minutes at 8:55. If you have been liking the session till now, if you have enjoyed the session till now, we will launch a poll quickly on the bottom right side of the screen for you. If you like the session, if you want to connect with us in order to understand further about Scalar and things about Scalar, how courses in Scalar are structured, how instructors teach you, what they teach, how they teach, what are the structure of the instructors at Scalar, go ahead and say yes, right? After the break, we are going to cover the backend roadmap in detail. We will understand how the backend roadmap works. You would get a certificate. I have been seeing this question for a long certificate. You will get that certificate if you want. I will hand sign and send that certificate to you as well. Don't worry. But certificate you will get it. Over to you, Apurva. I'll be back by 8:55. All right, everyone.
Hi guys, the screen is, the poll is still running. Please do participate in the poll. It's going to end soon. Certificate milega, Syed, milega. Share the document. It will be shared after the session is over. Since we are already in the session, it's still ongoing and we are going to continue till 10 most probably. So it will be shared after that. The recordings will not be shared, guys. Alright guys, please do respond in the poll. Ma'am, where you will share it? I'll share it on the WhatsApp group. Irfan. Okay, so the poll is still running. Meanwhile, I'll just take 1 minute and I will find out the link for our WhatsApp group which you can join. And then all the links, whatever resources, whatever notes we have been, we have been working on in this session will be shared in that WhatsApp group. So please do join. Second, I will find out the link. Okay, so you can just join. If you already are a part of any WhatsApp group, you don't need to join again. Okay. But if you are not yet a part of the WhatsApp group, 1 or 2, you can join this second WhatsApp group. The first one is already full. Please do click on this link and join the WhatsApp. You will get it, Smith. Okay, so I will share it once more for everybody. Ishika, recordings are not available as conveyed in the starting itself. Smith, please do not spam. I'll have to mute you. Recordings will not be shared, guys. Let's not ask the same questions again and again. I'll have to confirm it, Pranav, but Scalar enrolled students usually they get the recordings. People don't listen, no? You will get the certificate, Smith. You can share it on LinkedIn, Chandru. Let everybody know that you are spending your time at good places, learning something new on a Thursday night, no? This is the second group, so no, it's not full. You can just join in and you can be a part of the group. Okay, so we have another, we have our coding communities, which is our Telegram and Discord communities. If you want to join this, you can join this as well. Okay, certificate is free of cost, Vishal. Okay. WhatsApp link is not working. Generate. Please refresh, Sanjay. It's working fine for me and it's working fine for a lot of people because I'm seeing that a lot of you have already joined the group. So yeah, please do refresh. Okay, now there are a few other things which I would like to share. So if you want to be a part of the session where our co-founder Anshuman sir will be talking more about software development as a field, because in the starting of the session we saw that there are almost 70% students here. So if you want to get into the software development industry and if you want to know more, I am sharing this link to a free class. So this is a free class taken by Anshuman sir, as I already said. He is a co-founder at Scalar, and prior to co-founding Scalar, he was working in Facebook Messenger. He wrote some of the first codes of Facebook Messenger that we still use today. Okay, so please do join for this free class. Again, it is a very small event, very few registrations are allowed, so please do participate. Actually, it will be downloadable tomorrow since we are in the session. We need time to record your attendance to generate the certificate. So for everybody who has joined today's session, attendance after we record your attendance and after this session is over, on WhatsApp we'll be sharing a certificate link. It is ideally the same page, the same events page from where you have registered for this event. You can just go on that link tomorrow in the morning and then you can download it. I hope that is clear. I would not want to answer this question again. Lots of people asking me the same thing. It will be shared on WhatsApp group, the link. You'll have to download it yourself. Okay, thank you. Now I'll see, just let me see if there's one other link that I had to share, is that you can speak to someone, some Scalar alumni. This is a link to this. You can just click here and you can talk to someone who's been a part of Scalar, just like Abhirami, right? So Abhirami has been a part of Scalar, and she is currently working at Panda Health. She said that she had recently, joined this company like 2-3 weeks before, and then we had Vikas, who is working in Walmart as SD3. Similar to that, we have thousands of Scalar alumni who are, a part of Scalar or were a part of Scalar and at very good places. So if you go and check out our Academy dashboard, just let me share the link to that as well. So when you click on the review, when you click on curriculum, you can find all of that here. This is the Academy dashboard, and you just click, you can see what are the things that you can find out here. If you want to connect with all these alumni that you can see on the left hand side of your screen, so if you want to connect with those people, if you want to connect with Abhirami, you want to connect with Vikas, I will share the poll for one more time, for one last time, and this is going to be active for 30 more seconds. So I request everybody who has not participated in this, we launched the first time in the first I think initial 15 minutes. So if you want to talk to them, if you want to understand their journeys, if you want to understand what kind of a future do you have in your current field, if you want to know all of that, please do click on yes, and we will get you connected with them. So since this is an alumni call, nobody from Scalar is going to be there, and you will be getting to have a transparent conversation with someone who has been a part of Scalar, who knows the entire journey, how it takes place. So click on yes, and we will get you in touch with these people. The poll is ending in 3 seconds. Thank you so much for participating, guys. Alright, Abhishek, I will share my LinkedIn profile as well. So that's LinkedIn profile is already shared, and I will share his and mine once more. So this is my LinkedIn. I will fetch Siddharth's LinkedIn as well. It's already pinned, so I'm sharing it once more. Actually, I would not want to answer that in a public forum, I'm sorry. So that is shared. You can, download the certificate tomorrow, tag all of us, and it's great to, engaging with each other to grow your network. So yeah, please do download your certificate and share it on LinkedIn. Alright guys, I will also share another link, which is the events page. So if you are liking this session so far, and if you want to be a part of similar sessions, similar free sessions that we do here at Scalar, and if you want to be a part of that, I will just paste a link to check out our events page. There are a lot of events coming up. We have events on Saturday, we have another on Tuesday. So please do check all of this out, and if you're interested in any of these upcoming events, please do register for that. Our next event is on Saturday. It's on Java Collection Framework by Mohit. So if you want to be a part of that, you can click on that as well. Again, all of that is completely free of cost. So yeah, please do participate in these events and upskill. Send us link. I have already pinned the link events page. That is great to know, Kavya. It's already shared, Kaustup. Please do check the blue ribbon that I introduced to you in the beginning of the session. When you click on that small little inverted triangle that you see, right? So when you click on that, it will expand, and then you can see all important links that have been shared. So the second link that I've shared is it's my LinkedIn. Doc will be shared in the WhatsApp group. I hope you have joined the WhatsApp group, Krishna. You already are here, no? So I think you're doing what you can for attendance. I'm sharing once more, although it's already pinned. This is my LinkedIn. Devasish? Free, what are you talking about, Chandan? Thank you, Akshay. We will be resuming soon. Yes, Aftab. He's coming. He's here.
Sir is here.
So that they were getting impatient.
Okay, thank you, Apurva, for moving forward. Thanks a lot. All right, everyone. All right, I've seen this question enough number of times. I think I should pick that. What about Next.js and what about React.js? What about Next.js and what about React.js? React.js, what it does is that I'll just talk about it in theory for the next 2 minutes and then I'll move forward to backend as there is a lot of things to cover over there. React.js is used to build websites. We have all aligned on to this. What does React.js do? It provides you with a way to create your DOM. It provides you with a way to create your DOM. Right? And that DOM is then going to be displayed onto your screen. DOM is nothing but it is your HTML. So React provides you with a way to create your HTML in JavaScript and then render that HTML to your screen. Now what happens in SEO? What happens in SEO is that SEO will come and read your website and see whether the website has the right elements or not, or all of these things are going to be checked by SEO. SEO is nothing but search engine optimization. If it goes over your head, don't blame me. It's something that I am telling you extra. SEO is something known as search engine optimization. If it is a crawler that comes onto your website, it says that whether the website is built in the right way or not. How does Google rank your website? Google ranks your website using SEO. So for SEO to happen properly, you need your website needs to be written in a proper HTML format. Your website needs to be written in a proper HTML format. And that HTML is only not found in React because React says that all the HTML would be written in JavaScript. So your crawler does not find your HTML and leads to your website being not ranked onto your SEO and your website being not coming onto your Google. If you search for your website and it is made in React, it will not list there because Google does not know it does not have any way. So Next.js came into the picture. Next.js said that I will use React.js internally. All the components of React.js will be built inside Next.js. Just that Next.js will take all of the code of whatever has been built, all the HTML that has been built and put it onto the server, onto the browser, take the things from server and put it onto the browser and make your website SEO friendly. That's all it does. It makes your website SEO friendly. That's all it does. Does that make sense? What is Next.js? What is React.js? React.js. Next.js just makes your website SEO friendly. It's all built on top of React.js. So nothing fancy, nothing to know a lot about in Next.js. 1 or 2 configurations, you would be able to do things well. All right. Give me 1 second. All right. So now let us then come to our roadmap to backend development. Alright, roadmap to backend development. What is the roadmap to backend development? We'll learn about that. Again, we will learn through this roadmap.sh because it tells you different roadmaps. It will show you all the roadmaps, right? We'll talk about things in detail about each and everything. Don't worry. Over here, first and foremost, we want to learn about how internet works. What happens when you hit www.google.com? What happens? Now each and everyone can tell. We have already learned about that. So it is both same in front end and back end. Alright, both in front end and back end, you need to know what happens when you hit www.google.com. So how internet works is important. Let's just jump out of the loop of front end development now, everyone, and come to the back end development part. We are done with the front end development. We spent enough time with it. let's now go to the backend part. Alright. Enough of spending time with front end. Now let's spend time with back end. Now in backend development, how internet works is what we have done. Now the next and the most important part. Next and the most important part that we need to begins. Pick a backend language. Now, what are the different backend languages? Let's discuss and talk about them. Java, PHP, Python, Node. What else? What else? Java, PHP, Python, Node, Ruby or Rails, Go. What else? C hash. Node, I will call it as Node.js. Sorry, not Node. Node.js. Then let's just talk about these. Maybe .NET is one more we can talk about. That's all enough for today. Rust, yes, Rust is one more. Who is saying HTML? Right, Rohit. You are the one. Correct. HTML is also a backend language. Right? Golang. Correct? Yes. So now, what do I do? Should I learn all of this, or should I pick one? Should I learn all of these, or should I pick one? We should only pick one. As a developer who has done this mistake of picking every backend language and trying to learn everything and learning none, learn from me. Don't do that. Only pick one. Only pick one. Any of these, Java, PHP, Python, Node.js, any of them, one you have to pick. Right? Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of picking? Java has the largest market shares still of backend development. Right? If you learn Java, you have a good chance of landing a job, but the learning curve is little too high. The learning curve is little too high for you in Java, but Java is the definitely going to land you a job. PHP is not widely used for newer web development. So you could probably, if you are not a PHP developer, you could skip it. If you are a PHP developer, become better at it. Don't worry, but PHP now is not booming that much in the industry. Next, coming to Python. Python has two advantages, that it is used both in web and in your AI right now, right? So all is this AI and ML are all built on top of Python. Python is easy to use. Python you could learn and pick Python easily. Python Django and all the other things in Python, definitely Python is good, right? So you could learn Python. Next comes Node.js. Has a significant market share of developers in Node.js now. And one more advantage of Node.js is that if you learn JavaScript, if you have learned JavaScript, if you are a front-end developer, you would be easily be able to switch to Node.js. You would be able to easily learn this Node.js and you would be able to settle into this. Right? Ruby on Rails used in startups, Go, all of these are fine. They are coming up, picking up. C hash or .NET, they are used in banking companies. If you are in a banking company, they prefer to use .NET. They find it to be the most secure one. So this is the way. This is what you could probably pick one right now. What is the fastest route to becoming a full stack? The fastest route to becoming a full stack is very easy. It's very easy. You can learn either MERN stack or mean stack. Either MERN stack or mean stack. Now your question would be, what is this MERN? What is this mean? Can you tell me in chat, what is this MERN? What is this mean? React, and Node. This is Mongo, Express, Angular, Node. Alright. What does that mean? What does Mongo, Express, React, and Node mean? What does that mean? See, Mongo is a type of database built on top of JavaScript. Express is a framework that is built on top of Node. Node is built on top of JavaScript. React is built on top of JavaScript. So learn JavaScript, learn JS, and you could easily transition to becoming a full stack developer using MERN technologies. If you remember, in the beginning, Abhirami had said that she was a MERN stack developer. You remember? She had said that she is a MERN stack developer. So there are multiple jobs in the industry which are of MERN stack developer. Fastest and the easiest way to becoming a full stack developer. So if you want to become a full stack developer, go through the route of MERN stack development. If you are not already started, if you are a person who is starting, learn JavaScript, learn MERN stack, and become a full stack. That's the easiest tip that I can give you to becoming a full stack developer. Right? Does that make sense? Can I get yeses or no's in the chat? Alright, great to see such enthusiasm. Alright, let's then go ahead and understand more things. Now you have picked a language. Now what are the things to learn as a backend developer then? There are multiple things that you need to learn, right? Then you need to learn which is the database that you need to pick. Relational database or non-relational database. What is the database that you need to pick? Relational database or non-relational? In relational databases, you have SQL, you have MySQL, Postgres, right? You have MySQL, you have PostgreSQL, you have MariaDB, you have many databases under your relational databases. In non-relational, you have MongoDB, you have DynamoDB, you have Cassandra, right? Databases like this. Now, what is the difference between a NoSQL database and what is the difference between a relational database? Do you want me to talk about it for the next 5 minutes? What is the difference between a relational database and what is the difference between a NoSQL database? Okay. Alright, let's take 5 minutes to talk about this. What is a relational database? What is a non-relational database? And which is the scenario in which you would use? Alright, which scenario would you use and what is the different scenarios you would use them in? Right. So imagine that you know a lot of people. Right? How would you store the data of those people? You know a lot of people. How would you store the data of those people? You would create a table and you would write that. Let's create a table, people. In that people table, let's have ID and let's have names of the people and let's probably have email addresses of those people. So one, let's say you know Rahul. I'm saying XYZ over here for a moment. 2, you know Ankush. XYZ. X. 3, Rishabh. ABC. You have 4, you have, say suppose, Ankita. You something. So now you want to store that who are your friends as well. So these are the list of the people you know You want to store the list of the friends also that you have. You want to make a list of the friends that you have as well. Right? How would you do that? How would you do that? Would you add one more column over here in order to say this is my friend, this is my friend, this is my friend, this is my friend? Would that be a right thing to do? Saying true, false, true, false, true, false, something of that sort. Yes, no. No? Definitely not. What you would do, you would add another table, you would add another table, you would add another table which would be friends. You would say over here, let's just keep the people ID. Let's just keep the people ID in this, right? In this people ID, we will then store the reference of the people that can be your friends. So you say people ID 1, 2 and 4. Rest of the people are not your friends. So people ID 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 4 are your friends. Right? Now what did you do over here? What did you do over here? You said that you have made a relation between these two tables. Can we say that? Can we say that you have made a relation between the two tables? How did you make a relation between the two tables? How did you make a relation between the two tables? What is the process of making a relation between the two tables? This user ID is the relation between these two tables, right? This user ID is the relation, right? It's a foreign key that is used over here. This is the primary key and this is the foreign key for the other table as well. So now if anyone asks you that, can you tell me who all are your friends? You will say that, hey, join this table people with this table friends. Whatever the memos come over here, those are your friends, right? Somehow join this table with this table, whatever the data comes would be your friends. That is what is going to be returned. Now what is it? You are doing a relational relation. You have created a relation between these two tables. You have created a relational database. Now next we will learn about NoSQL databases, non-relational databases. How would these non-relational databases come into the picture? What does this non-relational databases do? Now, in a NoSQL, like a MongoDB or a DynamoDB or a Cassandra, in these databases, what are you going to do? Data is going to be stored in the form of a document. In a form of a document. It is also called that the data is stored in a JSON structure, JavaScript, object, notation. Or you could say the data is stored in a key value pair manner. So if the data is going to be stored in a key value pair manner, what would it do? What would be the advantage of that if the data is stored in a key value pair manner? What would be the advantage of it? If it is a map, yes. What would be the advantage of it? The data fetching would happen very fast. Can we say that? We can get the data very fast. Complexities would be reduced. Complexity of the data would be reduced. The data can be fetched very, very fast. Why can the data be fetched very fast? Say suppose you want to find the data of user 10. You just need to write user.10 and it will give you the data. Right? User.10 and it will give you the data. Right? So if you have the data stored in this way, user equal to ID name, ID, email. This is the format in which data is stored. Right? This is the format in which data is stored. You have multiple users like this in your code. So you would just have to come and say ID, let's say this is 3. So you would say just user.3 and it will give you the data. The reads would be specifically very, very fast. But what is the problem now? What is the problem now? The writes that would happen would not be very reliable. The writes that would happen would not be very reliable, because you are writing in a document. There is no way to roll back the data. There is no way to make sure that the data is written in the right place. There is no error that comes. There is no transactions that happen. Nothing happens. So this database is read fast but not very secure in terms of writing the data. The data could be written wrong. So if you are building a website and you are building, say suppose ICICI website or HDFC website or any banking website, which database would you use? Which database would you use? You would use a relational database. Why would you use a relational database? Why would you use a relational database? Why? Because you would want the data to be stored in a secure manner. You can be fine, you would be fine, right, if the data comes to you in a large amount of time. But you would not be fine if your money goes from your account to someone else's account. 100% right, correct? If your money goes from one person's account to another, you would be like having a mini heart attack. But it would be fine if the data comes in some small amount of lag, right? That brings me to the next concept that we would want to learn. Next concept that we would want to learn something more about databases. We'll quickly learn a little bit more about databases. What is happening over here? What is database indexes? What is sharding? What is asset properties? ORMs, transactions, and +1 problems, and normalization. We'll not go into everything in detail. We'll talk about it a little bit. Say suppose, what is a transaction? What is a transaction? A transaction says that, let's take it in an example. You sent your money on, say suppose, Google Pay, or you sent your money from Google Pay to someone. What would happen in this scenario if sometimes, like sending the money gets deducted from your account and does not get credited into someone else's account? What would happen? You would get a heart attack first of all. You will get a heart attack first of all, thinking that, oh my God, I was sending this money and it's gone. But you would see that the bank slowly returns that money to you. That is a transaction that happens. It will see whether your money got cut from this and did not get submitted into the other account. It will come back to your account, right? So that is what is happening in the case of a transaction. A transaction is maintained. So a transaction is a set of instructions that say either all the things in those instructions would, all the instructions in that transaction would complete, or everything would be rolled back. Right? So say suppose there is a transaction, it starts, there are some instructions that money should be deducted from this account, money should be sent to this account, then the transaction should close. If the money was deducted and not sent to the other account, the transaction is not complete, it will roll back and your money would come back to your account. This is because of the property of transaction in your NoSQL databases. Alright. Next, what do we talk about? Let us talk about, let's say, we'll pick some of the things over here. Let's talk about sharding. Right? Let's talk about sharding. What is sharding? You would have heard of this term sharding a lot of times. Right? What is a sharding? I'll take 2 minutes to talk about it. You have started a business, you must have or you must not have, fine, that's fine, we'll talk about it. Don't worry, we'll talk about it. You started a business and you said that your laptop, you started it on your laptop, on your laptop, and your laptop had a lot of information of those users. So you say, suppose you started a startup and you said that my laptop has 1 GB of memory, and I start storing the information of the users in that 1 GB memory. So in that 1 GB memory, one user's information is probably taking 1 KB of size, 1 KB of size to store. How many users that 1 GB would be consumed in? How many users your 1 GB would be consumed in? If 1 KB is stored for one user's information, 1024 into 1024. Alright? Now your system went out of memory. Now what would you do? The easiest way would be that you would probably extend the memory, buy some storage, expand your storage. You bought that storage, fine. Now you said that from 1 GB I make it 1 TB. Now after a point of time that storage will also fill. Right? After a point of time that storage will also fill. Now next what you will do? You will say I will buy 1 PB. That storage also fills. Then what do? You keep on increasing the space of your laptop. But is it going to become very expensive very soon? Right? iPhone, when you go and buy it, it's 64 GB iPhone and a 128 GB iPhone has a very huge price difference, and a 68 GB iPhone and a 1 TB iPhone has a very significantly high price difference. Right? Align with me? You would have, if you don't have an iPhone, at least you would have seen the price of an iPhone, right? So extending the storage after a point of time by extending the number of users by increasing the size of the storage is impossible. It's not going to work. So what would you do? You could probably say that somehow if I can parallelize it on 2 laptops. If I could parallelize it on 2 laptops, that would work. If I could parallelize it on 100 laptops, that would be better. If it could parallelize on 1 lakh laptops, that would be great. Yes? 1 lakh laptops would still cost lesser than one huge 1 PB laptop. And then it is again a single point of failure. If one laptop fails, all your website is down. If you have 100 laptops, 1 lakh laptops, it makes your life easier. But now how do I store the data of all the users, and how do I distribute amongst these laptops? How do I distribute this data amongst these laptops? The bigger question that comes in hand, right? How would I distribute? Which user's data would I store it on this system? Which user's data would I store it on another system? Right? You could say that I could store the data, say suppose A to Z, A to F in one system, F to further in another system. Then further I could divide it into 3 sets, so from A to Z. There could be a possibility that all the users who come to your website are of name A. What would happen now? Again, your system with A would become very big. Your system which are others, having the other sets would be empty. Then you are wasting the space on the other laptop. Right? So you would determine some strategy in order to distribute this data amongst all of these databases. This process of distributing the data amongst all of the databases is known as sharding. You are breaking the data, you are sharding the data into multiple databases. Does that make sense? Everyone? Only 7-8 yeses after such energetic explanation is very disheartening. Now a question that has been continuously been asked that where would you use a NoSQL database? Where would you use a NoSQL database? Where would you use a NoSQL database? Imagine a scenario that you want to store the information about how many times a user logs into the system. You want to store this information about how many times a user logs into the system. Could you store that on a NoSQL database? Could that be a place for storing this on a NoSQL database? It could be, right? Why? Because if imagine the data is somehow missed, it's fine, right? One session got missed, it's fine. The data is missed, it's fine. But what is the important thing that you are looking over here? Looking for over here, every time you log in to a system, you want the data to be given to you as soon as possible. Because if your user is logging in and you do a 2-second query to get that number of times the user has logged in and maintain the sessions, it's going to make your system slower. Every user comes and does this, and hundreds of times this happens, your system would become slower and slower and slower and slower in nature, and leading to your website crashing after a point of time. So this data would be stored in a NoSQL database so that the writes are fine. If there is a mistake, that's fine. But your reads are very tremendously fast, and you don't need don't need a relation between the database. You just need to keep the user ID and the count of the data. You just need the user ID and the count of the data, or you can keep on adding entries, right? This would be places where you would be taking your. This would be places where your NoSQL databases come into the picture. All right. Now let's quickly move forward. My throat has also started hurting now a little bit. I'll probably speak little less loudly. Next part comes, which is very important, which we want to learn, is known as APIs. So what are we going to learn? I'll tell you. APIs, caching. What are the different mechanisms of caching? We'll learn about APIs. We'll learn about authentication. We'll learn this. What else? We would learn? We would then learn about. We have learned about NoSQL databases. We'll then probably jump to OS and networking. OS, networking, CI/CD. I'm just writing the things that are left. Interview questions, I'm saying, interview process, and then wrap up. These are the next some things that we are going to learn, right? So for the next 15-17 minutes, I'll continue talking about these. Then I will start the doubt session, because I understand a lot of you have a lot of doubts as well. Alright. Now, APIs. What are APIs? What is APIs? APIs are the backbone of your web dynamic websites. APIs are the backbone of your dynamic websites. What does that mean? Right? We talked about it, that if imagine a user comes and opens a website. So when you came and opened Scalar.com, what did you see? When you came and opened Scalar.com, what did you see? You saw a web page. Just, is that the same web page that Ludwig sees? Is that the same website that Aryan says? Is that the same website that Siddharth says? Yes or no? Everyone sees the same website. I'll show you an example of it. Right? Right, so everyone would see the same website. Nothing changes for any particular user, because this is a static website. Now, if you want to make it dynamic, how can I make it dynamic? You would do that using an API. API is a bridge between your backend and frontend. So in the case of API, what happens is, it's a did I show you the website? I did not. Did I not? This is the website that I was talking about. This is a static website. Now, if you are talking about this, so bridge between backend and frontend is an API. Now, how is it a bridge? Right. So imagine that the user comes and says login. When they say login, what happens in that scenario? A call goes to the backend. Backend sends the data by connecting to the database. The database would send some data, and then that data would be sent to you. That's what would happen. Right? That's what would happen. That data would come to you. This is happening through an API. So that API that you are doing is sending the data back to you from the backend to the front end in order to change the things based on the different users. Right? So if I log in, the web page would change and edit based on what I have done till now on this website. So getting data specific to a user would be done through an API. Does that make sense? Getting the data specific to the user would be done using an API. Imagine a scenario. Let's just take a 2 minutes over here to talk about more in detail about APIs. Right? Imagine that you open Book My Show. What would happen when you open Book My Show? What would happen? You open page, and we are imagining that we are logged in. You would see a list of movies that are there, right? That list of movies then is a list of movies. List of movies is a API which returns you the list of movies. Now you clicked on a movie. Then you will get a list of theaters showing that movie. So you will do a get call to get a list of theaters showing that movie. Then you click on a particular theater. Then it will show you the seating arrangement. Right? So you will get the seating arrangement. How many seats are booked? How many seats are not booked? All of those things would be sent to you, right? So list of movies first would be fetched in an API. List of theaters would be fetched. When you click on a theater, it would send you the seating arrangement. How many seats are there? Probably the prices also would be returned in the seating arrangement. Now, once you select a seat, a call would go to the backend saying that user choice, say suppose something like this, would be sent to the backend. And that user choice would be sent to the backend, and the user choice would be that this person has selected this movie, this theater, and this seat. So block this seat for this person. Does that make sense? What an API is? After that, the payment would happen, and a lot of things would happen. Hundreds of APIs would be there. Let's talk about some. Now let's come to the interesting part of things. Let's talk about authentication. There is this JWT. You would have heard of this JWT. Then you would have heard of something known as OAuth. Right? You would have heard of this OAuth, JWT. You would have heard of this token auth. Right? What are these things? What is this JWT? What is this token auth? What is this authentication? What is this basic auth? Right? These are the things that you would want to understand. Right? So now imagine a scenario where a person comes and logs into a website. You would see that this person is the right person. Abhishek comes and logs in and says that, puts his username abhishekrockstar@gmail.com. This password is probably, I will not tell you my password. All of those details would go to the backend, and those details would be checked on the backend. The backend would go and do a database call. The database would say that yes, that data would be then checked, and it would say that yes, this user is valid, and that data would be sent to the front end, and then front end would say yes, this person can be logged in. Right? This person can be logged in. This is a basic auth. Correct? Can we we say that this is a basic auth. This is a basic authentication that we have done. Now, person is logged in, then you go and click on another button on the website. Then you go and click on a button on the website. What would you do in that scenario? What would you do in that scenario? Would you do another call to the backend saying that would you send them to login page again? Would you log them in again? No. The user would come and slap you at your home. They'll be like, how many times do I need to log in? What would you do when the first time the user is logged in? You will create a token and send that token to the front end and say that keep this token, and this token will probably expire after a duration of time. And every call that you do after that, every API call that you do after that, you will send that token from front end to back end saying that this person is this. This is the authentication metric of this person. Keep them logged in. Keep them logged in. Right? Does that make sense? What is this token doing? Keep them logged in. That's all. Alright. Now next point comes is what is this OAuth and what is this SSO? You would have heard of this OAuth and SSO, right? In a website, you go and you say, I want to log in through Google, right? You could come to Scalar and say log in through Google, log in through Facebook, right? That's what you do, right? These websites, Google, LinkedIn, GitHub, these create their own OAuths. What that OAuth means is that they say that why do you want to add such extra information of this user? I would give you the identity of this user. I would say go to my server, I would give the identity of this user and give that to you. So it says that you could log in through Google, you could log in through Facebook, and that could be used to identify the user. That is known as OAuth. So these providers like Google, LinkedIn, GitHub, they say we will provide you with the who's the user, and you could use that. Next comes something known as SSO. Now imagine that you log into Google, right? Imagine that you go and log into your Google account. What happens over there? After that you open YouTube. Does it ask you to log in again or not? Does it ask you to log in again? Yes or no? No. How did that happen? Google is on a different domain. YouTube is on a different domain. Google cannot access the cookies of YouTube. YouTube cannot access the cookies of Google. Right? This is known as SSO, single sign-on. What does that say is that you log into Google. When someone comes from YouTube, a call comes to YouTube. YouTube would say that, hey Google, is this person logged into your system? This is the identity metric of this user. Google would then send back and say that yes, this person is logged in to Google, and then that data would be used in order to log you in. So you would send all the requests to one server. That one server would then send those details back to you. So Google, if you are logged in, you can go to YouTube, you can go to Gmail, you can go to all the other services of Google by single sign-on. That is known as single sign-on. Let's quickly talk about caching. Now. Right? Caching happens at two places. One is in your browser. Second is in your CDN. What is caching first of all? What is caching first of all? Right? Let's take 2 minutes to talk about what is caching. So imagine you want to make a milk tea. How would you make a milk tea? What would be the process of making a milk tea? You would imagine that you have your tea leaves, you have water, you have everything else, sugar at your home, but you want to make a milk tea. You would go to your market, You would go to your market, get the milk, and then make the milk tea. Yes, go to the market, get the milk, make the milk tea. Next day you want to make milk tea, what would you do? Next day you want to make milk tea, what would you do? You will go to market again, get the milk, make the milk tea again. Next day again, go to the market, get the milk, make the milk tea again. Yes, that's the process you would follow. No, right? You would go to the market, get a lot of milk, put it into a refrigerator, get the milk from the refrigerator every day and make the milk tea. Yes. Now what is this refrigerator? This is your cache. This is your cache. This is your place where your data is kept, temporary storage of your milk. Similarly, websites say that instead of storing the data, all data coming from your website, from your web servers. So say suppose you are sitting in Bangalore and you are trying to get the data from a web server sitting long away in, say suppose US. The data to come from US to you would take a lot of time. There would be amount of latency. Right? There would be a amount of latency that would happen, right? The data would come to you in some amount of time. That latency, in order to reduce, what these companies say is that in nearer to this person, the data, I'm sitting in Bangalore and the data is coming to me from a server which is Bangalore, that would be much faster, right? The time taken to travel between Bangalore to Bangalore server is faster than getting from USA. This process of storing that information to servers which are nearer to you is known as caching. Who does this caching? Companies providing this CDN. CDN is content delivery network. Things that could be cached so that to make sure that things are not going to be brought from far away. What are these companies? CloudFront is one company. Akamai is one more company, right? Cloudflare is one company. Beautiful, Harish, right? This is known as caching on the server level. Now a data comes to you. Have you seen that when you hit a website for the first time, it takes some amount of time to load that website, but when you come and revisit that website, that data comes to you faster. That website opens faster. How does that happen? That happens through caching on your browser. Your browser also caches data and your JavaScripts and your CSSs, everything onto your browser in order to make sure that the data requests do not go to the server again and again. If a file is brought to you on the browser will keep that data. Alright, you are caching the whole files of the user. That is known as caching on the browser level. Cookies are to store small information about the user, like a token. Those are known as cookies. Cookies is a storage provided to you on the browser in order to store personalization information. And caching is a process of storing the whole file, which is going to be same for all the user. All the user cache data. What is cache data? These images, this JavaScript file, this CSS. These are your cache data. All right. Cookies are personalized data storages for the user. Personalized data storages for your user. Right. This is known as your caching. So two places: first browser, second CDN is where your data is stored. Now next, OS, networking and CI/CD. Quickly we will cover this in the next 5 minutes. By 9:50 we will start the down session. Cookies are not based on caching. Cookies are used to store personalized information again, everyone. Caching is a mechanism to store the whole file. OS is a topic that you should have learned during your college when your college professor was teaching you OS and you were throwing planes in the session. That was what was missed. That was what was missed. How your processes work, how your threads work, how do these things work. That is known as OS. Your least recently used caching, how does LRU work or multi-threading work. These are all process concepts of OS. Right now, how is your data transferred across different layers is known as networking. So there is something known as TCP/IP. There is something known as UDP. There is something known as HTTP. There are 7 layers of network. On these 7 layers, different things happen. There is a physical layer. There is a network layer. Lots of things are there on this network. layer,
आपके पास
presentation
बेकार
layer,
बकवास करने का
right?
समय नहीं होगा।
All of
आप
these
सिर्फ वही करेंगे
layers,
जो आपके जीवन के लिए
all
वाकई मायने
of
रखता
these
है।
layers
आपके पास किसी के साथ कोई
would
बकवास
have
करने का समय
something
नहीं
or the
है।
other.
आपके पास केवल वही
On
चीजें
one
करने का
layer
समय
you have
होगा जो आप करना
HTTP.
चाहते हैं, जो आप वाकई अपने
On
जीवन में
one
करना
layer you have
चाहते हैं, और उसके अलावा कुछ
TCP/IP,
नहीं।
UDP.
और यही आपको करना चाहिए
All
क्योंकि
of
समय बहुत
these
सीमित है।
things would mean your data, how your data is transferred. This is known as networking, and you should learn about it. All right, quickly, let's move forward to what is CI/CD. Last topic for the day, everyone. CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. If your code has to be, say suppose you have written all the code on your Java, and you have written all your code on JavaScript. How do you put that code onto your server? How do you send that code to your server to say that this is the latest code, use this latest code to give it to the end user? You send that through something which is known as a process of deployment. There are multiple ways and multiple processes that are followed for deployment. Right? One of the ways that is followed is CI/CD. You maintain your code on GitHub. Your GitHub code is then taken, your latest code is then compiled, then that code is compiled and put onto a server. Then that server is told that if someone is going to come and ask for a request for a data on your server, you then start these backend languages. These backend languages provide a way to create these servers. Then you tell there that this is the data that you need to return. You host your website onto those servers. All this process happens in the method of deployment. Your assets are compiled, your images, JavaScripts are compiled, they are also put on a server, they are put on a storage. All of this process happens in the deployment. I will not go into deployment. Now, a process where your data, whenever you merge something into view, whenever you merge a data, so in GitHub you have branches, right? Whenever you merge a branch into your master branch, after that a set of unit tests are run, a set of tests are run. Those tests, when they pass, then that data is transferred to your servers. The process of transferring that data to the servers, then the process of putting data onto your caches, checking for everything that is there in order to require to do a deployment is known as CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. The data is taken, it is deployed onto the server as soon as you merge it on a GitHub, on your GitHub repository. This is the process of CI/CD. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of our topics that we wanted to discuss. Let's quickly discuss about the interview process for a junior, senior, and in a backend. For DSA comes in the first round. Backend language, machine coding round again over here. Then you have your high, not for a junior folk, a low level design interview, and then a cultural fitment. Right? Now your question would be, what is a low level design round? What is a low level design round? Low level design round is nothing but where you are going to, in a low level design round, they would ask you, can you create the table structure of my show, and can you create the APIs for Book My Show? That is your low level design. We discussed about it in very gist when we created our APIs and we created our tables. This is known as your low level design. Right? Now going to a senior folks backend interview, you would have DSA, then you would have a backend language. Probably you have it or you don't have it. Then you have LLD, low level design, LLD again, or actually this can be backend language and LLD. Then over here you have high level design. Now what is high level design? We did this also while we were talking about sharding. I asked you that which is the databases you would use, how would you shard your databases, how would you make sure these many number of users can be served, how many servers would you run. All of this is known as high level design. Right? Next, cultural fit. If you are a fresher and looking for a job as a full stack developer, you can get probably a package of upwards from 5 lakhs going up to 20 lakhs. Backend, you could probably start from 3, go up to again 20. There is no limit. Front end, again, you would go from 3 to 20. 3 is usually given in a very small startup or in a service based company. This is only for freshers. For an experienced folk, you could go anywhere upwards from 40, 50, 1 crore, 2 crore, anything. Nowadays you would see, right, a boy from a small city gets a package of 2 crore rupees. So those are infinite numbers. Don't run after them. Run after smaller things, right? These are the packages that you could get in while you are learning your you're owning your skills as a developer. All right, I will share this document with all of you in a moment. I hope that cultural fitment is again whether you are fitting into the culture of a company or not. I hope that you enjoyed the session. We are going to quickly launch a few polls where we would ask you whether you liked the session or not. If you liked the session and you enjoyed the session, please rate it 10. I have put in a lot of energy to make sure that you understand things well. So if you loved the session, go ahead and rate it 10. It would be very, very helpful for me to know that yes, you liked the session. But do that on the poll on the bottom right side of the screen. This is what you were looking to learn. This is the roadmap that you wanted me to explain. Please go ahead and rate the and you would all start dropping off. Please go ahead and rate the session on the bottom right side of the screen. If you loved it, say 10 and it will help me understand. Great. You would see some more polls. Please go ahead and rate those as well. I know it's a little painful, but did you like the pace at which we taught the masterclass? The pace of teaching was great. Then go ahead and say 5. So I would understand that yes, the pace at which you learned things was great. I was able to cover things in a beginner friendly manner. You were able to understand things. Please go ahead and rate the session on the bottom right side on the poll. It would be very, very helpful for me. Requesting all of you to participate in all the polls for the next 2-3 minutes. That's an effort that I would want you to put. All right. Next poll is going to be launched pretty soon in a minute. Yes, I'll accept all your LinkedIn requests, don't worry. Did you find the masterclass to be engaging? Did I give you the real life examples in a well-mannered way? If I did, please go ahead and say 5. Would help me understand that I need to change something or not. If you did not find the masterclass engaging, if I did not take your doubts in a proper way or I did not explain you things in a way that you were looking for, you can rate it something else, but I hope that you loved it and you will rate it 5. Great. All right. Did you like the content of the masterclass? This is what you wanted out of this masterclass. This is how you wanted to understand how to become a full stack developer. If yes, please rate it 5. Would help me understand that yes, this is the content that I should do in the next session as well. Right? Please go ahead and rate it on the bottom right side of the screen. This helps us understand and curate the content better for the next masterclass as well. It was a joke that it is once in a 4-year masterclass. It is not that way, so it would be very helpful, right? Yes, the doc which you have been waiting for is over here. Alright, I think those were all the polls, right, Apurva?
Yes, that's it. Must ask the to the team, otherwise all is done.
Alright. One last poll. I know you are going to get angry with me. If you want to connect with us at Scalar, if you want us